I get asked this all the time. What's next? You've done this now. How do you top that? Ever since I can remember, after big events or long runs, I've always had a list. A list of things I would need to do when I got home to improve. A list of focuses that I would need to work on in order to get better, to be better, and in essence, perform better. This is the first time that I have completed something as physical and mentally as demanding as this without a need for an improvement list at the end of it. What you need to understand, to me, it's not actually about how fit I can be or how fast I can move. It's having an experience, both an external experience with my body, but additionally an internal experience with my mind. The journey, the lessons you learn from putting yourself in an uncharted territory where you are completely self-reliant can provide exactly this. With basically all events in 2020 cancelled, I have slowly been putting together my own challenge, my own event, my own timeline, my own finish line with just one focus: to have a self-catered experience where I could use my body to move me across the land with a single backpack, right in my own backyard. A journey filled with running, hiking, swimming, rock climbing, and bush bashing had led me to travel 133 kilometers on my own 2 feet, with just the fat on my body as fuel. Yes, I did not eat. And the creeks and the streams along the way for hydration. It would seem like I had finally found what I was looking for. Although, I just didn't know that what I was actually looking for, I already had. Working your way through scrub without a track is a really hard thing to describe. The effort you apply is considerably higher than your reward of kilometers you actually chew up. While there is an obvious physical challenge at hand, the mental focus needed is really what is draining. You can't drop the ball. You can't lose focus. A risk of hurting yourself becomes exponential, especially with 2 marathons already completed under my legs. To add to the logistics of the trip, as I mentioned, hydration was completely coming from streams, creeks, and rivers. There was no aid stations. There was no helping hand. I was completely reliant on myself to carry and filter sufficient amount of water from the available sources. I knew this would add some of its own possible problems, with dehydration being avoided at all costs. If you've been following me on for a while now, you probably already know this, but I just can't get enough of feeling fit, healthy, and be better for my life. I don't know why, but the image of me becoming debilitated by my own body scares the hell out of me. The image of me staying overweight and unable to play effortlessly with my kids really plays at me all the time. Maybe that's where my motivation comes from. Maybe it's not the I want to be better. Maybe it's the I never want to be like that, or I never want to miss out on that. Just one of the many reasons, honestly, why I'm in love with my Morris Method way of training, as it provides me with the fitness that I need to keep up with my kids, to have energy throughout the day, but yet also go through these moments where I get to experience these life-changing adventures. When you are running over long distances like 50 kilometers and 100 kilometers, you tend to go through a type of meditative state, or flow if you will. If you have ever done running long enough, you would know what I'm talking about. This is when someone is truly in the zone. The pain subsides, your mind can just drift. I remember specifically having these vivid images of family time. Memories of Hamish and I in our backyard, setting up the tent, going for a little backyard camping trip, and just having a good time together, being active. One other memory that continued to replay in my mind was playing at my parents' farm. The dogs were playing in the dams, and we took time to soak up the scenery while Hamish got to feed the cows with Nanny and Poppy. I can remember this moment along the run so vividly. These parts just kept popping up continuously. The dam, the farm, the family time, spending time in the kayak, Hamish laughing and smiling, Maggie getting to experience her active moments. This was my first moment within this run, over the 133 kilometers, where I started to figure out what it was I was looking for, or what I had already gained. Be happy, but never satisfied. I'm sure you guys have heard this quote before, right? I never got into running to run longer than 100 kilometers. I never got into hiking to push through such rugged scrub that I only travel 1.3 Ks in an hour. I never got into the pursuit of endurance training to continually push the distance and the pace. I got into it all as a way to feel healthier, fit, and just live a better life with my family. Now, because of the right training, the right nutrition, I can just do these things anytime I like. Like, just for a second, imagine becoming so physically capable all the time, not just in a lead up to an event or a part of your life, but constantly. To do the things you want to do anytime. To have copious amounts of energy every day to pursue your dreams and aspirations. This is what the experience and adventure showed me. I'm happy, and I'm also 100% satisfied. It goes slightly against the be happy but never satisfied quote, right? I remember getting to the 110 to 115 kilometer mark of this trek. I set up a little fire and I laid down in my sleeping bag for some rest and had experienced something that I have never experienced before. An overwhelming full sensation of content, happy, and satisfaction. As one of my clients would describe, I'd found my bliss point. The full trip I had planned was actually just south of 200 kilometers, and I'd hit a crossroad mentally with zero reasons to take another step at the 115 kilometer mark. Sure, my body was fatigued, but I was still very capable of continuing on. I was so weirded out by this overwhelming feeling of content. I remember calling Nicole and my parents, talking them through what I was feeling, but realistically failed to express what I was feeling. How do you express to someone on the phone that you have never been so content in your life? Your body, your physical performance, your health, and your mental state. I've never had this. There was no list. I had done and gained everything I could ever want. I did actually decide to trek on and see if this was just a phase and gave myself some time before I would make any decisions. I get back into the flow of things, but just didn't feel the same. I was doing it just because that's what I said I was going to do, as opposed to achieving something for myself. I had already come to the realization that everything I have and can do is 100% what I have wanted for years. At 133 kilometers, I call it, and to be honest, broke down emotionally. Not because I had stopped, but because there was no list. No list. I had gotten everything I wanted out of this experience without even specifically training for this event. I can, anytime I like, head out my door, see some places that minimal people have ever seen. I'm not a paid athlete, and I don't aim to be. I do all of this so that I can live the most adventurous life possible with my family. I spent years running around in circles with my health, unable to really live. Gaining my health has had to be truly one of the greatest gifts I have ever given myself. I'm a better husband, I'm a better dad, and when the day comes, I know I haven't wasted my life. I'm not just surviving, but I'm thriving.